Hello everyone, my name is Vinay and I welcome you all to my channel, and this is going to be the second video of my HTML series. So in the first video we spoke about the introduction of HTML programming language, and we touched upon a few of the important topics related to HTML basics. Now we also understand that why HTML is very important while creating your web pages. So with that, it is a good time that we now should start understanding the structure of the language. Now, why I am saying the structure? Because understanding the structure of a particular language is very important if you want to explore the advanced topics in that language. So HTML is no exception. So if you want to learn HTML in a good way, you must explore the basic structure first. Then slowly we will, move to the advanced topics of it. So with that, let's get into this session. So as I said that we are going to discuss the HTML structure in this video. But before that, let's cover few of the basic things about HTML programming language. So as you all know that HTML is a language for creating web pages, and it also helps us to decide the structure or the layout of the web page, right? In the last session, if you haven't watched my session, in that session, I have explained the HTML in detail. What does that mean? So HTML combines three words in itself, and those are hypertext, markup, and the final is language. And in the last video, I have explained what is hypertext, what is markup, and what is language. So once you understand the meaning of each of these words, believe me, you will never forget the definition of HTML programming language, and you will never forget that why we use HTML so much, right? So if you haven't watched my video, I request you to please go back to that video first and then come back to this video, because I put a lot of efforts in creating a sync or the flow of the information so that you can understand all the things in a sequence, right? So with that, let's move to the next topic, which is about browsers. So we have many browsers available in the market. So if I talk about few of them, like Google Chrome, as you can see the logo of the browser in the bottom. Second is Firefox, Mozilla Firefox. Third is Internet Explorer, that is among the famous browsers in the world. And then you can talk about Opera, and there is one more browser, Safari, and you will find n number of browsers in the market. If you want to explore all of them, it is good for you because it will give you a nice sense about that how your web page is showing on different web browsers, right? So it is always a good practice to create a web page and then test your page on multiple browsers. It will give you a broader perspective about your designing, right? So that's all I wanted to reiterate in this phase. Now let's move to the actual content of this video, which is the building blocks of HTML, right? Now, when we talk about any programming language in the world, for an example, Java, .NET, C, C++, or you name it, any language in the world, it is always important that you understand what are the building blocks of that particular language. Otherwise, your basics will be not very strong, and you will not be able to, build on the advanced topics of that particular language. So it is always important that you understand the building blocks or the basic structure of a programming language, right? So so HTML is no exception. We also have defined very well defined structure about this language, right? So you have to understand that structure first. So in order to understand the building blocks of HTML, you should know what are tags, what are elements, because these are the basic building blocks that we are going to use throughout our learning series in HTML. And whatever code you write in HTML, it will be written with the help of these building blocks or the tags or the element, whatever you want to call it. Now how does it look like? What are the elements? So just imagine a wall, right? A wall is when you talk about a wall, there are many blocks combined together, right? So I have created an example for you here right now. So here you can see we are talking about tags or the elements. So there are many tags or elements available in the HTML language that you need to understand. right? After that only you'll be able to, create web pages in HTML language. So as you can see, HTML is one of the tags. As you can see, this is a small word, right? And this is covered by the angle brackets. As you can see from in the start and the end, it is covered by the angle brackets. So whatever word you write in angle brackets, right, that is your element or the tag in HTML language. So we have predefined tags or elements in HTML that you are going to use in this session. So I'm talking about three or four basic tags or elements to start with. So the first one is HTML, as you can see on your screen. Second is head. It is again a tag, right? Then we have title, as you can see on the screen. And then we'll talk about body. So these are the four, basic building blocks or basic elements that in a HTML program you will find always, right? So these are the four elements. Those are present everywhere in all the HTML pages because these help us define the structure of a HTML program, right? So every program written in HTML language will start with this particular tag, which is called HTML, as you can see on my screen. And then under HTML we have this head section, right? And under head we have this title, and in the last we write a body tag. And in body tag, whatever you write, it will display on your page, right? And under head, whatever you write, it can be a title or the head of your particular page, wherein if somebody looks at your page, they will find this content which you written in the head on the tab name of the page, right? So it is kind of giving a name to a person, right? And the body is something where all the contents or all the video, text, any other files are placed on that particular page, right? So this is all about basic building blocks of HTML. Now if you find yourself confused about this, don't worry, we have got your back. I'm going to explain all of them in detail, so don't worry, just hold back your queries as of now. So I'll move to the next section which is available here. As you can see, let me clear all the drawings here. So this is a basic example that I've taken here. So as you can see on this example, we have this tag, right? So this is how you start writing HTML code. So in a simple file, you start HTML code with this tag, which is called HTML. Now, this HTML is an opening tag, right? You have to close it as well in the end, as you can see. Now, under this HTML tag, we have two different tags. One is your head, then second is your body tag, right? Now, under head, we will have to write the title of the page. So this is the basic structure that you need to follow while writing the HTML program. So just keep in mind, these are the basic elements or the basic tags which are available in HTML language, right? Now, if I go to the next page, okay, so now here we will be talking about what are opening tags and what are closing tags, right? So don't worry, all the tags in HTML are not opening or closing tags. There are few tags which are without closing tag, which come without closing tags. For an example, BR tag. So in the subsequent lectures, I'll be covering that as well. So as of now, whatever tags I have included in this example, those have opening and closing both, right? So as you can see, a tag which does not have any forward slash will be called as a opening tag, right? So we call it as a opening tag. So how many opening tags are there in this particular slide? So I'll just highlight those. This one, then we have head, right? This is again a opening tag. Then we have this title, then we have this body tag. These are the opening tags, right? Now tags with a forward slash are called closing tags, right? For an example, as you can see, this is a title closing tag. As you can see, we have put a forward slash here in front of title, so it becomes a closing tag, right? Same goes with body. We have again this forward slash in front of body, so this again becomes our closing tag. And in the last, we have this closing tag as well, which is with HTML, right, with a forward slash. So now you can easily identify what is opening tag and what is closing tag. So there are few tags in HTML that requires opening and closing both. But there are tags in the HTML2 which do not require any closing tag, right? So we will be covering that in subsequent lectures, so don't worry about that. Let me go back to the next slide. Okay. So, so the question is, where do I write HTML code? So I strongly recommend all my, followers that they should start writing the HTML code in a notepad file instead of taking help from an application which is very advanced applications like Notepad++, and there are many other applications available out there which can make your life easy. But I would strongly recommend that you start using Notepad and you start writing all the lines of your code by your own manually, right? That will give you more confidence about writing code in HTML. Once you feel very comfortable about the language and the structure, then you can move to the advanced apps or the applications like Notepad++. But till then, just use Notepad, right? That is a simple text file that you can use, and you will have to write each and every line of code in that file. Why am I saying this? Because for a beginner, it is very important that they understand each and every line of the code, right? So if you are using Notepad, it will give you a great confidence in the future about the language, right? So I strongly recommend using Notepad in your initial days. Then we will move to the advanced applications which can help you write HTML code in a better way, right? So with that, let me move to the next slide where I have something interesting for you. So sometimes people find it really difficult to remember all the tags and the sequence of those tags, right? But I have made your life easy. So I would like to introduce you with Mr. HTML. So I have created this character for you so that you can, remember what is the structure. You can keep that in mind, right? Now we have four basic elements, as I told you earlier, that we have HTML tag, right? Let me highlight those. We have HTML, we have head tag, then we have title, then we have body. If this is really hard for you to remember this structure, then just follow this rule, or the follow this caricature that I have created for you here. So his name is Mr. HTML, right? So this is a human anatomy, as you can see. So it is starting from HTML, right? And it is ending with an HTML code, HTML closing tag. Now on the head of this anatomy, I have created a head, I have placed head tag so that you can remember. On head we have this head, and under head we have title. It means you can imagine writing name of yours on your head, right? So this I'm going to some humor, but it is important that when you include humor in your sessions, people tend to keep those things in mind for a later stages, right? So I have tried to do that. So on head you have written a title, right? And the entire body, as you can see, between these two tags, the opening body tag and the closing body tag, you will have all the content that you want to add on your page. For an example, if you want to add video, audio file, or any text, you will be able to do that here, right? So now I hope this caricature, Mr. HTML, will help you to remember the structure. So the first tag is HTML. Then inside HTML, we have this head. Now under head, we have title, and then we have body tag, right? So this is how you remember the structure. So this was the intent of creating this video, so that I can make you understand about the structure of this language. So if you remember this particular thing, you will never forget the structure of the language, right? So with this, I'll take your leave. So we'll meet in the next session with some very basic program of HTML, and I'll explain how to start writing an actual code in HTML. Right? Till then, thank you so much for investing your time here, and we'll meet very soon.